Hey, Miyakojima is a subtropical island south of Okinawa where the water is absurdly blue, the beaches are 7 kilometers long, and most Japanese people have never even heard of it. 4 days here is enough to see reefs, cliffs, bridges to tiny neighboring islands, and a town that shuts down by 9 p.m. If you pace it right, you won't waste half the trip figuring out which beach is which. I mapped out the whole 4-day route in a template you can grab. Links in the description. Miyakojima sits far enough south that even winter stays mild, but the experience shifts a lot depending on when you go. Summer gives you warm water and typhoon risk, spring and fall are the sweet spot, and winter means empty beaches and crisp light. Day 1 eases you in. A chieftain's tomb in a residential neighborhood, a windswept peninsula with a lighthouse at the end of the world, and the island's only real town for dinner. First stop is Tuyumya's grave, the stone tomb of Nakanoshima Tuyumya, who ran Miyako in the late 1400s before this island was ever called Okinawa. It's tucked in the middle of a residential part of Hirara. You walk past someone's house, and there it is, a centuries-old coral stone tomb behind a low wall, nationally designated as a cultural property. The tomb blends local Miyako stonework with Ryukyuan architecture, two cultures meeting in one gravesite. Smooth coral walls shaded by trees, smelling like cut grass and warm stone. Budget about 30 or 40 minutes here because it's small and quiet. It's a grounding stop before the day opens up into beaches and capes. From Hirara, drive southeast to Cape Higashi-Hennazaki, a narrow 2-kilometer peninsula where the island just ends, and is nothing but ocean from here to Taiwan. You walk a sliver of land with water on both sides and tall grass bending in unison until you reach a white lighthouse, 24 meters tall and the only vertical thing for miles. The Japanese government designated this one of the country's 100 best urban parks, which is a bold category for a windswept blade of land at the edge of the nation. The ranking system is either very rigorous or very drunk. Come in the afternoon because the golden hour light across the water is the real payoff, and there is genuinely no shade anywhere on that walk, so bring water. Head back to Hirara for the evening. This is the largest town on Miyakojima, and your only reliable shot at dinner that isn't a convenience store. The thing to eat here is Miyako soba, and the detail that matters, the toppings go under the noodles, not on top. The island has its own soba tradition distinct from mainland Okinawa. The streets smell like pork broth and neon hum from the soba shop signs, and you'll hear the local Miyako dialect, which is its own language, mutually unintelligible with Japanese. Eat by 7, not 8 restaurants close early, and after 9 o'clock, your options are Family Mart. Day 2 is beach days. You start with 7 kilometers of white sand, then climb a dune to find a hidden cove with a stone arch, and wind down at a sheltered marine garden where paddleboards outnumber people. Yonaha is the beach that put Miyakojima on the map. 7 kilometers of white sand that routinely wins Japan's best beach polls and landed in TripAdvisor's Global Top 25. The sand squeaks underfoot, and the water is so clear your shadow follows you on the sandy bottom. No food stalls, no exhaust, just the smell of salt. It stayed this pristine partly because Miyakojima was genuinely hard to reach for decades, so no high-rise hotels ever lined the shore. Arrive early on weekends because parking fills, and water shoes help at the rocky entry points. Sunayama literally means Sand Mountain Beach, and the name is accurate. You walk over a dune, and the reveal is a turquoise cove framed by a natural rock arch. It's Miyakojima's most photographed scene, white sand against cobalt blue water through a stone window, and that dune approach is why. The sudden temperature drop when the ocean breeze hits you is part of the experience. This is the intimate counterpart to Yonaha's 7-kilometer sprawl, a tiny enclosed cove you can cross in a minute, which also means it feels full fast. Budget, an hour or two here, not the whole afternoon because it's small. Late afternoon light through the arch is the shot to wait for. Finish the beach day at Imgyaa Marine Garden on the south shore, a protected inlet where the water is calm enough that paddleboards outnumber swimmers. The reef side walking trails here are almost always empty because everyone stays at the water's edge, but walk the trails and you can see reef fish from above without getting wet. It's a gentler way to close out a big beach day, flat, glassy water, the clunk of paddleboards being carried to shore, and softer late afternoon light. If you want to rent a paddleboard, get here by 4, the rental shop closes early. Day 3 goes outward. You cross the longest free bridge in Japan to reach Irabu and Shimoji. Snorkel a reef that starts steps from shore, then push all the way to a beach most tourists don't know exists. The Irabu Bridge is 3,540 meters of ocean on both sides, the longest toll-free bridge in Japan, and it costs exactly 0 yen to cross. Before 2015, you took a ferry here. Now it's a 5-minute drive across turquoise water, and on calm mornings, sea turtles are regularly spotted from the railing. The color shifts as you cross shallow turquoise near the shores, deeper blue in the middle, and a faint vertigo from having open water on both sides of a narrow road. Cross early because tour buses arrive mid-morning, and the bridge is narrow enough that trucks make the whole thing feel less leisurely. Yoshino Kaigan is where you actually get in the water, the best snorkeling beach on Miyako, with coral reef formations starting steps from the sand. You put on a mask, walk in, and you're surrounded by tropical fish. The reef is that close, no boat ride, no long swim out. The water here is a deep emerald, not the postcard turquoise of Yonaha. The reward is underwater, not on the surface, so adjust your expectations before you arrive. Morning is the move because afternoon winds kick up chop that kills visibility, and if you want the best coral spots, pre-book a guided snorkel tour. The last stop is Nakanoshima Beach, also called Kayaffa, on Shimoji Island's southwest coast. You cross 2 bridges to get here because it's the farthest point of the whole trip. This is the quietest beach you'll visit. No facilities, no vendors, no music. Just waves on coral and the crunch of your footsteps on sand. Before the Irabu Bridge opened in 2015, spots like this were essentially locals only, which is why activity guides still list it as a hidden snorkeling destination. Bring your own snorkel gear and water because there's nothing here. That's the deal, and it's worth it if you came prepared. Day 4 loops through 2 more bridges and 2 more islands, south to Kurima for a castle-shaped viewpoint that looks back at the whole trip, then north to Ikima for one last crossing over emerald water. Kurima Bridge is shorter than Irabu, at 1.7 kilometers, but the water below is shallow reef. You can see individual coral formations from the car, like a drone shot. The approach from the Miyako side gives sweeping views of the coastline below, with reef patterns that look like abstract art when the light hits right. By day 4, you've crossed so many turquoise bridges you're developing opinions about which shade of blue is superior. Kurima's is greener, for the record. Stop at the viewpoint before the descent to Kurima Island because that's where the best photos are, and morning light is the one that makes the reef colors pop. From the bridge, climb up to the Ryukyuan Castle Observation Deck, a 3-story platform on Kurima Island shaped to look like the underwater palace from the Urashima Taro folktale. The deck looks like a castle, but the real treasure is the panorama, Kurima Bridge, Yonaha Beach stretching along the coast, and Irabu Island in the distance. You can see where you've been all week. The hike is 15 minutes uphill and your legs will notice, but in cooler weather it's genuinely pleasant, and the view sharpens in winter air without the summer haze. Wear shoes with grip because the trail gets slippery after rain, and bring water for the climb. The last crossing is Ikema Bridge, heading north 1,425 meters to the least touristed island in the chain, and the water below is a different color than anywhere else. It's more emerald than turquoise because the reef is shallower and closer to the surface. You can see coral formations from the pedestrian railing, and on a clear day, fish from the bridge. Ikema Island is quiet and green with limited development. The bridge opened access, but the island didn't rush to build resorts. Walk the pedestrian path along the railing before the afternoon clouds roll in, because the coral colors flatten fast without direct sunlight. That's the one timing trade-off on this stop. Miyakojima is the rare island where the beaches, bridges, and reefs all actually deliver 4 days of crossing turquoise water to places that still feel like secrets. I put the whole 4-day route into an editable template with a map view. Grab it from the link in the description. Drop which stop you'd add an extra day for in the comments. I'd love to hear it.